As I continue to practice primitive skills, I'm amazed time and time again how effective and useful are the many natural resources that we often take for granted. These kelp blades are undesirable by 99.9% of the people that visit the beach, but I use kelp as food. I dry the blades in the sun, and then they can be stored for future use. Acorns are an excellent food that I eat regularly. Rather than just discard the shells, I can use them for their high tannin content to tan the buckskin for the ball I'm making. Many of the acorns are rotten because they don't store very well, and these are from last year's harvest. The water from this nearby stream will be used with the acorn shells to dye the buckskin. I'm making a fire to cook the pot of water and acorn shells. Then I will add the buckskin. The hot dye solution will penetrate faster than a cold soak. For the friction fire, I'm using the original hand drill fire kit that I made a year and a half ago from Seep Willow Branch. The spindle is getting shorter with every use, so I will need to replace it soon. After just a few hours, the kelp blades are dry and ready to be stored. They can also be eaten raw as a tasty, naturally salted sea snack. Speaking of salt, soon in this video I'll quickly show one of my favorite ways to gather salt from the sea. When there is a good bed of hot coals, I can cook the pot of acorn shell tea right on the coals. Ancient ball games used inflated pig bladders covered in leather. In this case, I'm using the cecum of a full-grown bison. The cecum is a bag-shaped organ that is part of the complex digestive system of these magnificent animals. I'm washing the cecum to prepare it for curing in salt. One effective way I gather salt from the sea is by drying the buoyant air bladders of bullwhip kelp. After a few days of drying in the sun, the evaporating seawater leaves behind mineral-rich salt crystals which can be scraped off into a container. Soaking the cecum for a few days in a very salty brine will help preserve it for long-term use. While the cecum soaks in salt water, I'm going to give the buckskin an oak tan with the acorn shells. The tannins will stain the buckskin and give it a permanent darker color. After 5 days, the cecum looks and feels exactly the same as when I began soaking it. The next step is to inflate and dry it. Like a balloon, this inflated cecum will stay inflated a long time. In a few days, it will be completely dry. The buckskin has achieved a dark oak color, but now must be cut in shapes that I can sew together to make a ball. Three days later, the materials for the ball have completely dried, and I'm working the leather to give it some shape. I ended up cooking the buckskin one more time in acorn tannins on the fire to achieve higher heat, which caused it to tan even darker, as well as shrink and harden. This is a more desired result for this project. What I have here are jojoba nuts. Jojoba grows in hot, rocky desert areas. The nut contains a wax which is very stable and resists rancidity. This wax is often used in skin and hair products for its nutrients and beautifying properties. I'm crushing the nuts so I can extract this potent wax and use it to protect and preserve the dry cecum. While the jojoba heats on the fire, I stay busy by making more cordage. I use agave and yucca fibers to roll strong cordage, which I use for countless projects. I'm going to need cordage of a specific thickness to sew together the primitive ball. After about half an hour on the hot coals, the crushed jojoba can be strained to separate the liquid. I put the pot of liquid jojoba back on the hot coals to evaporate the water. The remaining paste will be the nutrient-rich liquid wax that I want. And then I continue making cordage. After about an hour on the heat, the liquid thickens and feels a little oily. Jojoba is a really good moisturizer for the skin. Likewise, it's also great to moisturize dry organs like the cecum. I didn't need the entire cecum for the ball, so I had cut it in half, and I will use this piece to make a bag. Moisturizing it with jojoba wax makes it more pliable and will protect it from breaking. The remaining half of the cecum is still inflated. This part will be used to inflate the ball. The jojoba wax will make it more pliable and resistant to cracking. A bone awl is an ideal tool for punching holes in leather. Once all the holes are made, then I can sew the pieces together with cordage. I have to insert the cecum and inflate it before completely closing the leather exterior of the ball. You can clearly hear how it inflates like a bag. After tying shut the opening, I can finish lacing the ball with the cordage and it will be ready for play. The ball is a little rough looking, but let's see how it plays in a one-on-one competition of beach football. My brother agreed to a one-on-one match to see if this primitive ball will actually work. It's the primal guy versus the modern guy. Nothing like kicking up a little sand with beach football during the World Cup. Foul! Could a cattail card have been the first version of the yellow card?
Beautiful.
It was a close game, but as the midday sun heated the sand, our bare feet could not bear the hot sand any longer.
Oh my god, the sand's too hot to play. Game over. It's too hot.